farm. And it looks like my grape tomatoes are finally starting to make some progress there. They're about a month behind, but they grow very quickly and very tall anyway, so I'm not too worried about them at this point because they seem to have taken hold finally. Okay, and after that I have the Roma and San Marsan tomatoes, and they are just going gangbusters. Need to be tied up, need to be cleaned and tied up. So yeah, they're doing fine. Moving right along. Peppers. They're doing okay. They should be a little bit bigger by now, but they're still healthy. And I've got a fair amount of weeding to do so that the weeds don't take over the pepper plants. So I've got another row of pepper plants right here, and they seem to be doing just fine. And then the next row, of course, is my basil, and everyone always thinks that my basil's awesome, but I've always known how to grow basil, and actually the trick to growing tall basil is just to have a single plant. Don't bunch it up with 20 or 30 plants the way they do in the stores, and pinch the tops or use the tops. So the more you pinch, the more they'll bunch. So yeah, never feel shy. Like each one of these is one plant, and they're doing extremely well. So, and I've got a whole row of the basil. So unfortunately, the next one over is my beans, and what the bunnies haven't taken over, the weeds have. So I've got my work cut out for me here. And well, I guess here I could be almost as bad as the raspberry farmer. Well, not quite, but almost. And this is why I put the cloth down over there. I was well aware of the fact that if you can't come up every day, and I couldn't, that the weeds would take over here. And I've cleaned these weeds, at least 3-4 times. But yeah, they're going to take over. They always will. So I'm here today to do a lot of work. Other than that, I also have my rosemary plants that I've planted here. I've got 3 of them, and they're doing awesome. Doing better than the ones, well, about the same as the ones in the pot at home. But these will outdo them, for sure, being in the ground. Unfortunately, they can't stay in the ground all year and then come up again next year, simply because we're in the wrong zone for them. And I do have some vegetables trying to fight the weeds, and we'll see if we can clear those up. If we can clean them up, then we'll give it a better shot. Now here I was supposed to have peas. Once again, doesn't matter what we do. The bunnies got to the peas, and the weeds got to where the bunnies didn't. My sage, planted all along the edge here, once again needs to be cleaned up. A lot of it, some of it died. I wanted it to go to seed so I could take the seed, leave the young lady here with the plants, but be able to take the seed myself. So after it's gone to seed, I will cut it back real hard. And, oh yes, there are seeds there. I could probably take some of these right now and dry them. I like for the seeds to mature on the plant itself, though. Okay. Don't know if this is... Yes, there are seeds in there. So maybe this bunch I absolutely should take. Okay. And that's it. I definitely have my work cut out for me. Now I've also planted lavender in this bed. Little tiny lavender cuttings. And I see them. They're coming up. If I get this bed cleaned up where they actually show, I will come back with a camera and show you how big they've grown. Now I planted them, they weren't more than an inch tall, so they're doing awesome. Okay, my carrots, hard to tell, but there's lots of carrots there. And here I've planted sweet potato, and it's the one I have at home is coming up better, but this will do better in the long run, obviously. And broccoli over there amongst the weeds. Got my work cut out for me today, so I'm going to get at it. And I may film some more later. And the cornfields are doing great. Farmer who's got this planted, I think he's got cornfields planted all over the place. But these ones seem to be doing well. This here is just grass, but just beyond the grass is more cornfields. And just at the top of this hill is another garden that belongs to the lady who lives in this farmhouse. Okay, so I'm back up at the farm, and I have a tremendous amount of weeding to do yet. See if I can get this cleaned up today. I did cut the sage back the last time I was here a few days ago, and you can't see it for the weeds, so I'm going to see if I can trim all around and get the weeds out of the way. So well, you can see some of the sage now. So I have dug a trench there, cleaned it up. It actually used to be turned right to that point at one time. So I have yet this hedge to do. A lot more weeds to clean out of there. This one is partially weeded from the last time I was here. This bed as well. Basil is doing awesome. Beans are starting to climb. Still have a lot of weeds to clean on the edge here. Tomatoes and peppers are doing well. Peppers continue to grow. But we still need to clean some weeds from here. Basil is doing awesome. Maybe I'll harvest some of that today. It'll allow it to grow even larger. We have some tomatoes. First fruits. And I probably will get around to trimming some of these tomato plants again today. And grape tomatoes are starting to grow. And they're gorgeous. Everyone loves the grape tomatoes. And these are seeds that I got from my mom. What do you know? That is growing as well, the cantaloupe. So yes, I like to keep the grape tomatoes growing every year because they are seeds I got from my mom and it reminds me of her. So that's it for now. I'll do after I've done a bit more cleanup, I'll do another run. So all the edges have been turned. So there is a clear delineation between the lawn and the garden at this point. And the gentleman who cuts the lawn will not be bothered by the edge of my garden. And right now I'm just way too exhausted to do more, so I'll have to come back to do the weeding again. But looking good. I'm not dissatisfied. That's it for today.